Relax, everybody. Relax your shoulders. Connect with your breath. Take 2-3 rounds of deep breathing. Let's start with salutation to our Adinata. Inhale. Om Shri Adinataya Namostute. Om Shri Adinataya Namostu Tasmai. Yenopadishta Hatha Vidya. Viprajate pronataraja-yogam arodomicchoradirohiniva pranamya Shri Gurum Natham swatmaramena yogina kevalam raja-yogaya hatha-vidyopadishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good evening, everybody. So I will get started. So we did the salutation to Sri Adinatha, and in the second shloka, as we can all see, our yogi Swatma Rama has clearly mentioned that the whole purpose of doing or practicing or studying Hatha Yoga is to achieve the final state of Raja Yoga. Kevalam Raja Yogaya. So last week we had last week we had a session by Haripriya ji about Patanjali Yoga Sutra. But some of us may find it difficult. So which is why Swatma Rama, our yogi Swatma Rama ji, he had given us a very clear thought process around how to approach Raja Yoga for normal average people like some of us. And Hatha Yoga is widely practiced in the current days, and there is a lot of theoretical. While it was originally it was written down for the purpose of Raja Yoga, to attain Raja Yoga, but eventually now it has a lot of more therapeutical application, which is also a core subject for all of us. So simple definition, Hatha is nothing but Ha and Tha. Ha is the sun and the pranic energy. It essentially uses our own body as an instrument to use to reach the Raja Yoga state. Ha is the sun or the pranic energy, or the the Pingala Nadi. Tha is the moon or the mental energy. And uniting these two forces, which are actually within us, to reach higher spiritual experience, is the objective of or the goal of Hatha Yoga. We all of us know that both these energy are always at a constant flux. One is high, the other one is low. The other one is high, the other one is low. So the objective is to make sure we bring both these systems, both these energy into balance, and then reach to the higher spiritual experience state. So our Swatma Ramaji, he had very clearly in the text, he starts with the foundation, what you need to do before even we start practicing. So he says, he gives a lot of tips about how should your place be, how should the hermitage, the mata, how should your place be, how will you set up the place to ensure that you have a very focused practice without any disturbances. So first he gives a very general guideline. He says it is better if you can live alone so that you are able to focus without any distractions. And he also says the practice place needs to be around approximately 1.5 meters length, and ensure that there are no hazards from rocks or fire or water. And also advisable if the your place, your hermitage is located in a country or a state where it is well administered, so that there are less disturbances for you again. And then you have a virtuous kingdom and where you can also able to get, as a yogi, you're supposed to get bhiksha, and then you're supposed to live your life. So good alms also can be easily obtained. So that is about the general condition. Then he goes on to explain about how the inside the hermitage, how it should look like, and outside. This you can also compare it yourself with how the yogi, the sadhaka, has to structure himself internally and externally, how to structure his physical body as well as his mental body. If you take the inside the hermitage, how it should be, so there has to be a small door, no alpadwara, and then there should be no windows. Why no windows? Because to ensure that the outside noises and other things cannot disturb us, and it should not be not too high or not too low, and spotlessly clean. Saucha has been emphasized in all our yogic texts and scriptures, and it should be wiped with cow manure and free from animals and insects, again, so that they don't disturb us. And how should the outside the hermitage be? So now, just going a little bit back, inside the hermitage also, if we can structure our mind also, and stopping any disturbances entering or disturbing our mind, how you have to withdraw your senses, and there are a lot of the practices which we do, right? So comparing it ourselves with our mind, then the outside the hermitage is comparable to your body. How do you keep your body clean and things like that? Then when we take about the outside of the hermitage, so Swatma Ramaji explains clearly, you need to have an open platform outside your house and thatched roof, so that he can go, the yogi can go and take rest, sadhaka can go and take rest, and a very good surrounding, a well outside, and also a fence, so that there is a one layer of defense which is already present, and the appearance should be very pleasant. So these are the foundational basic things which one need to have when they start with their Hatha Yoga practices. Now, going on to a little bit more deeper aspects, the Sadhaka Tattva and the Badhaka Tattva are very, very important aspects with respect to Hatha Yoga. And while Yogi Swatma Ramaji, he had given Yamas and Niyamas, but there is not a lot of emphasis within the text on Yamas and Niyamas. However, he assumes the fact that the people who are coming already are aware about the importance of Yamas and Niyamas, and they're supposed to follow it. So it is by default, it is assumed that they are following it. So when we take Badhaka Tattva and Sadhaka Tattva, both these concepts are very important from an examination point of view also. We need to know the verse if possible, along with the explanation. And interestingly, Yogi Swatma Rama explains about the Badhaka Tattvas, the don'ts actually, what you shouldn't be doing first. And then he only comes to Sadhaka Tattva, because I think it is important to channelize the energy. You should plug the energy leaks, then channelize the energy into the right aspects. So when we talk about Badhaka Tattva, he talks about Atyahara. It is nothing but overeating. Overeating is generally not advisable, because your body will get into tamasic state, and there's a lot of energy which gets wasted in the digestion process. Then next is the prayasa, overexertion. Too much effort also is not essential, because you'll get too tired too soon. And prajalpa, over talking. Again, there's a lot of energy gets wasted when we are talking, gossiping, talking to other person interaction and things like this. We have to cut down on that. Niyamagraha, over adherence to rule also is a full Badhaka Tattva for us. Because if we don't have a yoga mat, I will not practice yoga, which is again an hindrance. Janasangha, company of common public who doesn't understand the goals of Hatha Yoga are generally discouraged. Laulyam, and if you're fickle-minded, okay, today I will do yoga, tomorrow I will not do, today I will do pranayama. So that fickle-minded is also an obstacle for our Hatha Yoga practitioners. So then he comes slowly to Sadhaka Tattva. So what are the ones which will help you to succeed in your journey? One, Utsaha, which is enthusiasm. You need to have enthusiasm always in whatever you do. And Sahasa, which is the perseverance. You have to continue your efforts continuously. Dhairyam, you need to have the courage to face the various steps and in the evolutionary process, in your spiritual experience process. Nishchaya, you need to also have a very firm belief. Then Janasangha Parityaga, staying away from public, also will help you to focus your practice. So he talked about the Badaka Tattva, Sadhaka Tattva, and then the Yamas. There are 10 Yamas and the Niyamas. Here he talks about Ahimsa, Satya, which is the truthfulness, Asteyam, over talking, Brahmacharyam, the continence, the Shama, the forgiveness, Dhriti, the endurance, Daya, compassion, Arjavam, honesty, Mita Ahara, moderation and diet. Mita Ahara is one of the most important yamas. And Saucham, which is the cleanliness. So when going back to Mita Ahara, it is nothing but how it is being defined in Hatha Yoga is agreeable, sweet food, and which when you take that food, 1/4 of the stomach only needs to be filled. And it needs to be completely consumed with the mindful attitude to please Shiva. As like a prasadam, we need to have it. And this is the concept of Mitahara, and this is a very important concept in general and also for our examination point of view. Going back to the Niyamas, so we have Tapa, the austerity, Santosha, contentment, Astikyam, belief in Supreme, Dana, charity, Ishvara Pujanam, worship of God. So here again we are able to see Ishvara Pujanam, like how all the different levels of practitioners in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Here also there is a lot of emphasis on Ishvara Pujanam. Siddhanta Vakya Shravana, listening to the recitations of the sacred scriptures. Kri, remorse, or you can also tell humility. Mati is intellect. Japa, the mantra repetition. Huta, the yagna, and the sacrifice. Again, in some more verses after that, I don't remember the exact words, where Swatma Ramaji also mentions that Ahimsa is one of the most best niyama. So now if you see, it is mentioned here in Yama, but later on he says that it is one of the best Ahimsa, one of the best niyamas. So he is probably referring to under, maybe it is a subcategory of tapa. So these are the two most important aspects from Yama and Niyama, Mitahara and Ahimsa. So these are the very foundational aspects which anybody who wants to get started with Hatha Yoga Pradipika will need to know. Now getting a little bit more deeper into the concept is, so this is Hatha Yoga Pradipika also focuses on Chaturanga, okay? Like how we have Ashtanga for Patanjali, Ashtanga Yoga for the Raja Yoga. We have Chaturanga, the 4 pillars of limbs of Hatha Yoga Pradipika are the asanas. First, which is the very first one. Shatkarma and Pranayama are combined, which is the second. Then we have the bandhas and the mudras, which are again combined. And we have the last one, which is nothing but the samadhi. And as you can see, we don't see any pratyahara. We don't see the 8 limbs here. We only see the 4 limbs here. And Swatma Ramaji, he immediately starts with asanas, and he talks about, because why it is important, it is to get into the diseaselessness state, right? And to be able to, maintain the lightness of the body and the steadiness. These 3 aspects are important before even we move to the second anga, which is the pranayama. And let's move. So here the most important out of the 84,000 or 84 lakhs of asana, specifically 15 asanas are recommended as part of Hatha Yoga Pradipika. In that we have 4 important asanas which we really need to know it, how to give instructions to be able to know the benefits also for these asanas. We have Siddhasana, Padmasana, Simhasana and Bhadrasana. These are the meditative postures which are very essential to reach the higher states in our practice. Now moving on to Shat Karmas, we have the Shat name itself mentions that is 6 types of practices, Kriyas, cleansing techniques which we need to follow before we start doing pranayama, because these are going to purify your body and organ systems so that the base is ready for easy and undisturbed practice of pranayama. So we have the Shatkarmas, the Dauti, the Basti, Neti, we have Trataka, we have Nauli and Kapalabhati. We will talk about them and their benefits a little bit after this. We will just now, we will get a bird's eye view of what are the Chaturangas that we have as part of haṭhayogapradīpikā. Now moving on to pranayama. So beginning of pranayama, Yogi Swatma Rama, he doesn't immediately jump into Ashtakumbhakas. He talks about the Manonmani Avastha, then he talks about the Nadi Shodhana. Interestingly, he talks about Nadi Shodhana pranayama. And my understanding is he somehow sees that as one important pranayama to help with clearing the impurities of the nadis. He talks about Nadi Shodhana, and then he talks about Manonmani Avastha, which is nothing but the absence of the individual mind or the stillness of mind, which we will eventually attain after a continuous rigorous practice of pranayama. And there are so he talks about Rechaka, which is the exhalation, the Puraka, the inhalation, then the retention of the breath, which is the Kumbhaka, and then he specifically calls out there are two types of pranayama, one with conscious effort, where the retention is combined with Rechaka or Puraka, and we are consciously we hold the there is a retention of breath, which is nothing but, which is also called as the Samhita pranayama. And then the Kevala state automatically happens, which is you're not putting any effort into it. Then there is a lot of emphasis on the Ashtakumbhakas, which are nothing but the Samhita pranayamas. Surya Vedana, we have Ujjayi, Shitkari, Shitali, Vastrika, Brahmari, Murcha, and Lavini. So these all the 8 kumbhakas are very much highlighted for us to be able to reach that Manonmani Avastha state, which is the state of absence of individual mind. This is very much essential to move towards our Samadhi journey. And let's move on to the next Anga, which is the third one, which is the Bandha and the Mudra. So as you can see in Hatha Yoga Pradipika, we don't have anything called as Pratyahara step. My understanding of this is, I think bandhas are nothing but essentially nothing but the your way to do the pratyahara. It is a way to seal your leaking energy valves. So we have 4 bandhas which are important, which is mentioned. Mula bandha, and all of them are very important. Mula bandha, Udhyana bandha, and Jalandhar bandha, and finally Mahabandha, which is a combination of all the 3, Mula bandha, Udhyana bandha, and Jalandhar bandha. And we can perform all these bandhas individually also. We can combine, we can do Mula bandha and Jalandhar bandha, and we can do all the 3 together. This is the Mahabandha. This is our way of withdrawing. Again, we in Hatha Yoga, we use our body as an instrument, right? If you look at Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the withdrawal happens more from a mind point of view, right? We withdraw from the external objects, but here it is our own body we use as an instrument to do the pratyahara. Then moving on to within the same topic, mudras. Mudras are also energy seal. We have 6 mudras: the Mahamudra, the Mahaveda, Kechari Mudra, Vajroli, Viparitakarni, Shakti Chalana. In this, the Kechari Mudra is very, very highly highlighted. It's the best mudra amongst all of these. And this is essential for us to again progress towards the higher spiritual experience, higher stages of the progress. Finally, we have what is called as the Samadhi. Now again, different authors have recommended different number of techniques. I also remember reading there are like almost close to 250 crores of methods to attain Samadhi in Hatha Yoga. But the best one being the Nadānusandhana or the Laya Yoga is what is being suggested. The Nadānusandhana or the Laya Yoga has 4 different stages. One is the Arambha, the beginning. Here, when we say Nada Anusandhana, Nada is nothing but the sound. Anusandhana, we can either say research or exploration of the sound. And here we start exploring from the most grossest form of the sound to the most subtlest form of the sound. And there are different states of sound, as we know. Starts with the most grossest form, which is the Vaikari, which is the most audible sound for us, or the Ahata sound. And then we progress to Madhyama, the mental sound, which you hear it somewhere, but you feel the vibration, right? And then you have the Pashyanti, which is the one more form of, even more subtler form of the Madhyama sound, which is the visual sound. And then you have the final, the Para sound, which is the transcendental sound. Only your consciousness can actually interpret it, not the mind. When Vaikari can be interpreted by your mind and your ears, physical processed organs of your body, but your para sound is only identified by your consciousness. So these are the different states of sound, which as we go through the process, the different stages, we will be able to go from the most gross to the subtle form when we are doing the Nadanusandhana, the Samadhi, different stages that we go through. So in the Arambha or the beginning stage, just calling out the most important points here, where the Brahma Granthi is pierced, and during that time we hear a very, very tinkling bell sound. The which Granthi is getting pierced is very important, and what are the between the two chakras, how it is getting activated is important. Tinkling sound, and then the next stage is nothing but the Gata Avastha, which is the vessel stage, where the Vishnu Granthi is getting pierced, and the sound which is heard is the kettle drum. And then the third, the Parichaya, or now we are moving ahead in our Samadhi process, right? Then where we hear the sound of the drum, and then we have the final, the consummation or the Nishpatti, where the Rudra Granthi is pierced and we hear a flute resonating sound like a veena. So this Nadanusandhana concept is also very important part of haṭhayogapradīpikā. We'll move ahead now that we've got the overview of the Chatur Angas of haṭhayogapradīpikā. So little bit the benefits are important to Ashtakumbhakas, more because we are all going to be future therapists. The importance of the Ashtakumbhakas is applicable even today. And we have Surya Bedana. Just highlight for very few key important points only. So Surya Bedana, it's very helpful for purifying the cranium and also eliminating the worms, and very helpful in destroying the wind dosha. We have Ujjayi, which removes the phlegm, anything to do with throat, it really helps. Phlegm from the throat and stimulates the digestive fire. We have Sheetkari, it develops harmony within your endocrine organs, and then hormonal secretions in the reproductive organs. And also it makes one, there are a lot of therapeutical benefits and spiritual benefits as well. As we go through all these, you may find it. And it also makes one look very more attractive. And Shitali, it cures any enlarged spleen and stomach, fever, excess bile, hunger, thirst, and it can, to the effect that it can counteract poisons. And Vastrika, it any imbalances in the wind, bile, mucus annihilated, and digestive fire increases. It also helps in arousing the Kundalini, and the three Granthis are broken. And Brahmari become the lord of the yogis, and the mind, it's a very important pranayama, Ashtakumbhaka, again from a spiritual progression point of view. Then we have Murcha, which helps in reducing the anxiety, mental tension, induces relaxation. Then we have Plavini, it helps in treating the gastritis, stomach acidity, no hunger, we don't get that hunger feeling, and pranic awakening. Swadhisthana chakra is awakened. So here Brahmari is highly spoken of. As we all know, that the next stage is the Samadhi, the Nadanusandhana. Then here we start hearing the most grossest form of sound, right? We start connecting with the sound, and this helps to bridge that Brahmari pranayama. And so once we are done with the pranayama, where we are able to completely have a good control over our, the prana, the life force, right? And so again, the mudras, as we said, is important, right? The Kechari mudra is very important. What is the benefit of the Kechari mudra? It directly influences the higher brain functions. It awakens the higher centers of awareness, which is very much essential for our progress. And it regulates the hormonal fluctuations, control of reproductive fluid, longevity, and it also destroys any sins, great sins. And so now we'll talk about benefits of the asanas. We will only cover the 4 important asanas that are highlighted most often. So when it comes to Siddhasana, as we all know, it's also the most revered one. It said that just practice Siddhasana, right? If you can practice that, that's more than enough. It keeps our mind attentive. It is a meditative posture. It keeps our mind attentive. Makes us very alert, and it stabilizes the heart functions. It cures any calf or knee stiffness, improves the blood circulation, tones the abdominal organs and things like that. And when it comes to Padmasana, it improves the metabolism. It stimulates the abdominal organs that we have. Again, cures stiffness in knees and ankles and improves blood circulation to the lumbar region. I'm not covering everything, just highlighting few things. We have next is the Simhasana, which cleanses the tongue. It is very useful. Again, the throat region, the sound wherever we are producing, I think it is very helpful. Useful in the case of stammering. It alleviates ear, nose, mouth, and throat diseases. Also helps to control the liver and the secretion of the bile. Then we have Bhadrasana, which is a very good, gives good flexibility to the spinal column. Tones reproductive organs. It alleviates any disorders with respect to the reproductive organs. It stabilizes the mind and helps in channelizing the prana all over the body, and it helps in stimulating the Kundalini Shakti. So next is the Shat Karmas. We have the Dauti, which helps in controlling any phlegm-related diseases, the cough, asthma, enlargement of spleen. Then we have Basti, the colic, enlarged spleen, dropsy, disorders of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, everything is, this is very helpful. Then it also calms down your mind. Then we have Neti. The Neti helps in cleaning our, our completely the upper respiratory part, the cleaner of the brain, and also gives a divine eyesight. So it destroys all diseases around the cervical and the scapular region. Then we have the Trataka, it destroys the eye diseases and removes sloth, like your laziness. And Nauli, it removes anything to do with your abdominal organs, right? Your gastrointestinal systems. Dyspepsia, it increases appetite, digestion. Then we have Kapalabhati. It keeps our mind very alert, reduces anxiety. Very good in the case of respiratory disorders like asthma. Balances and strengthens our nervous system. Tones our digestive organs. So those are the very high level view of the benefits of the Angas that we have seen. After having seen Hatha Yoga Pradipika, I wanted to give a quick overview of Gheranda Samhita. Slightly just see how it is different, because Gheranda Samhita is also a little bit in detail. It is covered in our book, but not all aspects are covered. For example, the asanas are not at all mentioned. Few aspects are only covered in detail in our book. So those aspects I will try to cover here. So Gheranda Samhita is essentially it's a conversation between our Gheranda Muni and Chandra Kapali. And we have some of the unique features when you compare with Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Is in Hatha Yoga Pradipika we start with asanas, but here we start with Shat Karmas. So purification is given importance. Then we have Pratyahara here, but Pratyahara is done before Pranayama in the Gheranda Samhita. Unlike our Ashtanga Yoga, where Pranayama comes and then Pratyahara comes. And here there is no concept of this concept of dharana, right? There's dhyana, sorry. There's no concept of dhyana. Sorry about that. Then what are the so this is also called Sapta Anga or Gatastha Yoga. So Gatastha Yoga, Gatastha we all know it is vessel, right? Where the body is treated as the vessel, as an instrument. So let's move ahead with the Shat Karmas. Within our book, our curriculum, Gheranda Samhita, from a Shat Karma point of view, is is very important, because there are a number of variety of Dautis, variety of Bastis and Neti, which are very in detail explained as part of Gheranda Samhita. And we have the first anga is Shatkarma, the second anga is Asana, which is helpful for gaining firmness. Then we have the put it in the power. Can you see my screen still?
Yes, we can see.
Then we have the Pratyahara. For Mudra, what is the benefit of Mudra is to gain the steadiness, Dhairyam. And then Pratyahara, which is going to help us in getting the Dhairyam or gives us a calming effect. And then Pranayama helps in gaining the lightness or the Lagavam. And then we have the Dhyana, the Pratyaksham, the direct, perception. And we have the Samadhi, the Nirliptam or the final state, isolation. Then, so this is again a bird's eye view, and then we will dive deep into the Shatkarmas. So the Shatkarmas, we have 4 types of Dauti listed, and then the 2 types of Vasti and Neti. Then we have 2 types of Trataka. We have 3 types of Nauli, and then we have 3 types of Kapalabhati. And then asanas, we have 32 asanas. I'm not listing down here because not much emphasis has been given in our book also. Then we have the mudras. Mudras are around 25, but in our book they have given 12 as the most important highlights of mudras, out of which 10 are same as what we have in the bandhas and mudras in haṭhayogapradīpikā. We have 2 of them which are in addition to what is there in haṭhayogapradīpikā, the yoga mudra and yoni mudra, which are very specific to Gheranda Samhita, are also added in the top 12 mudras that are most important according to our syllabus. Then we have the Pratyahara. So we have 4 types of Pratyahara: the Indriya Pratyahara, the Prana Pratyahara, the Karma Pratyahara, and the Mano Pratyahara. And we have the 5. We have we have the Ashtakumbhakas. Whatever is the difference between our haṭhayogapradīpikā and here in Gheranda Samhita, I've highlighted. The Samhita is while the 8 are termed under Samhita, but here the meaning of Samhita is slightly different in the Ashtakumbhakas of Gheranda Samhita. And then we have something called as a Kevala, which is also unique to Gheranda Samhita. These are not mentioned in haṭhayogapradīpikā. Then we have the Pancha Tattva Dharana, the Prithvi Dharana, again on the Pancha Tattvas, right? The elements, the subtle elements that we have, the doing Dharana or the concentration on these elements. The Prithvi Dharana, Apa Dharana, Agni or Agneya Dharana, then Vayu or Vayavya Dharana, then Akasha Dharana. Then we have the final state, which is nothing but Samadhi. This is also not mentioned in our book, but just for the completion state is added. We have the Dhyana, Dhyana Samadhi, Dhyana Yoga Samadhi, which is the meditation aspect. And again, these are the different ways, right? The Nada, Nada-anusandana, similar to what we have in haṭhayogapradīpikā. And Rasananda, the bliss in the taste. And Laya is the absorption. And we have Bhakti Yoga Samadhi, contemplation on the deity. And Mano Murcha Samadhi, the Kumbhaka. The Kumbhaka or meditate on the unconscious state, on the Atman. We are meditating on the Atman, and we are the mind is unconscious in that state. So these are the Saptangas or the limbs of the Gatastha Yoga. Now we will look at the most important aspect from our curriculum point of view, where the Shatkarmas, and they also have a lot of therapeutical application for us. First is the Dauti. So Dauti, we have the Antar Dauti, the internal. Dauti. First type is the Vatsara Dauti, is using the air, and then we have the Varisara Dauti. We have the air inhale through your nose, and then how do you expel it out after doing a bandha lock, and then expelling it out of the anus. Then we have the Varisara Dauti, which is nothing but nowadays it is quite popular in the name of Shankha Prakshalana, and drinking water, and then you're doing a set of asanas, and then expelling it out of by cleansing the colon. Then we have the Vahnisara or the Agnisara. This is also very useful in some of the gastrointestinal disorders like constipation, other diseases. And we have Bahiskrita, which is the rectal cleaning. And next type of Dauti is the Danta Dauti. Even though the name says it is Danta teeth, but they are also talking about the adjacent systems as well. We have Danta Mula, which is the teeth, cleansing the teeth. This is almost done on a daily basis. Jivhaj Shodhana, which is the tongue cleaning. Then we have the Karna, we have the left ear cleaning and the right ear cleaning is given. And then Kapala Randra, which is the sinus, cleansing the sinus. And then the third type of Dauti is the Hrit Dauti, which is especially focusing on the cardiac system. We have the Danda Dauti, using a stick and then putting it inside the mouth and then taking it out slowly. Then we have the Vastra Dauti, which is using a cloth and doing it. Some people also these days they use catheter instead of cloth. And then we have Vamana Dauti, which is the Kunjal and the Vyagra Kriya, which is also helpful from a therapeutic point of view. Then we have Mula Shodhana, which is the anal cleaning. These are the part of Dauti. And then we have Basti, which is nothing but the yogic enema. So we have two types of Basti, which is the Jala Basti and using the water. And then we have the Sthala Basti. I'm not going deep into the techniques of how to do it because it is very elaborate. Then we go to Neti. Neti is for the nasal cleaning. We have Sutra Neti, Jala Neti, which many of us practice, and this is also very helpful in many of the disorders. Then we have Dugdha Neti, Grita Neti. Then we have Trataka, which is essentially focusing on our eyes, the concentrated gazing. We have Antaranga Trataka and the Bahiranga Trataka. Antaranga is closing your eyes and internally focusing on an object. And then Bahiranga is more an external object, a gross object available in front of you. Then we have Nauli, which is nothing but the abdominal massaging. We have Dakshina Nauli, the right side. The Vama Nauli, which is the left side. And then Madhyama, which is the middle. Then we have the Kapalabhati, the frontal brain cleansing. Vatkrama, using the air, Vatkrama, which is the usual way we do Kapalabhati. Most of us practice this way. Vyutkrama, we use the water, we inhale through the nose and then we take it out through the mouth. And then Sheetkrama, we inhale through the mouth, very closely associated, similar to what we do in Sheetkari. Sheetkrama, we inhale the water through the mouth and then through the nose we expel it out. So these are the 6 kriyas with further subdivisions within these broader topics, and they are very, very important both from an examination point of view and actually when we start practicing. Some of them have a therapeutical help when we start working with our participants and patients. So that's all I have today. I hope this was useful and gave a very quick overview. Relax. Close your eyes. Inhale. Relax your shoulders. Connect with your breath. Inhale. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.